Alright, we've got some caves to explore here. And, yeah, you'll kind of notice I'm doing this in post, which is kind of unfortunate, because, you know, I do like to stick to doing things the audio live. It just seems a little more, I don't know, authentic when you're actually listening to me curse about the random crap that I'm gonna run into. But, you know, in this video, it's probably actually a good thing, because you'll soon find out that I don't, well, let's just say I don't fare too well in this stupid cave. So the cave that's right over there by the farm, I started poking around in it, and I was like, oh hey, this is actually bigger than it is, or than it looks like. Well, it's not terribly big. I do kind of actually explore the entirety of it here in this video, but there are some nasty surprises. This zombie isn't one of them. He's pretty much fair game. Open season on the zombie, because he doesn't do anything but stand there. Well, nothing too interesting. I gotta always have to make sure you have the way out first before you go any further, because you don't want to get down in here in these caves and run into a bunch of stuff, especially creepers, and not have a way out, or at least some, ground to back up into to defend yourself with. Oh hey. And a bunch of zombies. So, I see all these zombies down here. I'm like, must have a zombie spawner here somewhere. And I hear that ticking sound. I'm like, oh, spawner somewhere. Yep, spawner. Alright. Oh, no. Nah. Skeleton spawners are my least favorite of the spawning boxes from hell. I don't know, especially now. Like I said, these skeletons, I don't know, they just seem to be more, I wouldn't say deadly, they're just cheaper now. Like, for some reason they seem to shoot through the corner sometimes, and still hit me. Whereas before, their arrows would hit the walls, and I wouldn't have to worry so much. However, there's still skeleton infighting, so, especially with these skeleton spawners, it's always pretty easy to get them fighting amongst each other. And previously, I have kind of used that to my advantage and gone in and taken care of them while they're beating each other up, but, well, it doesn't quite go so easy this time. In fact, I'm thinking that right now, I'm like, alright, well, this would be a good time for me to get in there and put some torches down. No, not a good idea. Yeah, so, well, alright, I'll come back. Shouldn't take me too long. So I get back down in here and get all my stuff back. I think I have everything taken care of. Nope. Before I can get that lattice torch down, it spawns in that corner. Fortunately, I managed to take care of him before I get killed again. So, take care of these stupid boxes. Now, is it just me, or do these boxes almost always have buckets in them? I mean, literally 9 times out of 10, there's always at least one bucket. Usually 2, but for some reason, it's just, there's always buckets. And while I don't mind having extra buckets, it just seems like an odd thing to have in so many of these chests as they are. I can always find a good use for them, but, it's, especially all the stuff that doesn't stack, it's just always kind of one of those things I have to deal with. The inventory game, as it's called, on the gamer's repertoire of things that we have to deal with in so many other titles. I mean, it's one of those. If this game didn't have an inventory system, you'd obviously be like, well, or this kind of inventory system. Anyway, you would always have some kind of problem that you would run into as far as what you needed or where you'd store your stuff. I mean, if you couldn't store stuff around in your inventory as it is now, then you'd be kind of stuck doing, one thing at a time, very repetitive tasks just to get small things done. And if you had a larger inventory than you did now, then, well, you'd always risk carrying way too much stuff around with you. And, one slip up and half your inventory, half your savings, all your items are toast. Because, you used to having such a huge inventory, you don't have to worry about managing it. Well, you do kind of have to balance things out a little bit to make sure that there's a good balance between, getting just the right amount of items in your inventory and not, having too many spaces. I kind of wish you could, get some kind of upgrade, though. It would be nice. Something you can carry other things in. Maybe a small bag or... Anyway. As I want to do most of the time with these spawners, I'm harvesting stone. Because it's always nice just to have another decorative color stone laying around. And it kind of lets you, kind of say, hey, look at me, I'm awesome because I killed some spawners. Or lucky that you killed some spawners, because quite frankly you can always just run back in and throw yourself at the spawner and hopefully kill whatever's spawning. So, but anyway, we do need to get out of here eventually. There's not too much more to explore after this, and again, it's one of those things that, hey, I found the iron. It's one of those things that I have a just bad tendency of running around in circles while trying to find the way out of caves. And it would be nice if you could leave some sort of, if there was some kind of marker you could leave behind. I do it with brick types usually, or I'll even carry sand a lot of the time because you can't find sand down there in the underground. So, having some kind of block type that you won't see, or you don't see very often, is kind of one way to mark your path, and I do need to start, sticking to that more often. Yeah. My good old friend, the creeper. That's the one big thing you need to watch out for, especially when you're poking around in caves like this, is not so much the holes down low, but the little dips up towards the top of the caves. Since there's still darkness up in there, and since you can't really see what's back up in there, you do end up getting a lot of baddies that hide out up there, just above your reach, just out of sight. And once you get close, they decide to jump down, and in the case of creepers, that's usually fatal. So, unfortunately, I once again have to run back and get my body, and I come back down to find more creepers. I don't know what it is, I just happen to become unlucky all of a sudden and get a bunch of creepers spawning at my cave. I do not like this. Then again, creepers, skeletons I hate more, just because creepers have to at least get close, and if you're real on the ball, you can hear that hissing sound right away and just jump and move somewhere and avoid the death. And taking a little damage isn't bad because the creeper's gone afterwards. It's not something you gotta deal with. Whereas skeletons can be somewhere off in the dark and pop you before you even get a chance to see them. And unless you're packing bow and arrow and a lot of ammunition, you kind of have to, find some way to go deal with them. And since I'm still early on and haven't found a lot of spiders yet, sadly, I don't have a bow and arrow, and my ability to fight is, well, it's not limited so much. It's the damage taking that's really hindering me. And remember, whenever you find, one or two little spots of something, make sure you check around it just in case. Never know, you could find diamonds. Of course, we're kind of a little too far up to find diamonds, but still, never hurts to look. And I think I'm trying to figure out if there's some place I've missed, because I'm like looking around, knowing that there's got to be some space that I'm, one little nook of this cave that I haven't explored yet, and I keep wandering around, and I come over here to check this wall because I know I heard monsters there last time I was in, but unless they were those guys that were out and about there, didn't quite find them. So, oh, there it is again. And then I find the, this darker corner, I'm like, well, then there is more cave to explore. Right, well, I keep hearing monsters, I'm like, oh, well, where is it at? Then you get a little deeper, and then you can start to hear water, too. And water's usually a good sign, just because I kind of tend to think that when you have underground water sources, you often do run into a lot larger cave systems. So I'm like, hey, alright. Maybe I've got some decent caving to explore after all. But I'm like, well, I better wait. I'll make another video of it, because we're running low on time. So, till then.